next piece I will be playing is Ondine by Maurice Ravel. So this piece is about a water nymph named Ondine who is trying to seduce a mortal on land. And this is because water nymphs don't have souls, so the only way they can get a soul is by marrying a mortal. So throughout this piece you can hear very sensuous calls by Ondine, as well as very different water elements, such as shimmering water and splashes and ripples. And here's a spoiler, at the end Ondine does not achieve her goal of seducing the mortal. So you can hear her last sad song and then the ensuing huge splash she makes in anger as she goes back to her water kingdom. I will be performing is Samuel Barber's Sonata, an Opus 26 in E-flat minor. So this piano sonata is actually the only sonata he wrote for the piano and has 4 movements. It's kind of interesting because originally he only planned for it to have 3 movements, but then Horowitz, who was premiering it, asked for a flashy finale. So Barber spent a few months trying to compose something to no success. And hoping to inspire Barber, Horowitz gave him a phone call one day and called him a constipated composer. So Barber was understandably offended by this comment, and he actually proceeded to write the whole 4th movement the next day. So Horowitz played this movement in the public for the audience, and they all loved it. So, yeah. And so I'll be performing the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th movements. The 2nd movement is a short scherzo, and it's titled Allegro vivace e leggero, which means lively and light. And I think that's a very fitting title for this piece. And in this piece is a waltz in the middle section, and although a typical waltz is in a 1-2-3, 1-2-3 pattern, this waltz actually juxtaposes 3-4 with 4-4. So, like the left hand, for instance, is 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3. So instead of just doing all 3-4, he chooses to do different rhythms. And in contrast to this very light and upbeat 2nd movement, the 3rd movement is one of the most tragic and serious pieces in the repertoire, in my opinion. So it is titled Adagio Mesto, and mesto means sadness in Italian. So in this piece, you can hear various elements of grief and mourning throughout. Like there's a series of laments, which repeats throughout and builds in intensity. And another thing he used in this sonata, which is kind of unique, is the 12-tone row, which means he used all 12 chromatic scales for his harmony. So, and this was actually a device that was devised by Schoenberg a bit earlier, but Barber used it to great success in this movement. And even in the first 2 measures, he uses 6 triads, 6 chords, but they're all with the 12 notes of the chromatic scale. So here's the first measure. So in those 12 notes alone, he used all 12 chromatic tones. And he uses the same pattern throughout in the left hand, either in single notes or in triads. And the final movement of this, in contrast to the sadness of the 3rd movement, is an upbeat fugue, and in a fugue, this subject typically has 4 voices, and it repeats in different registers, different keys, and different hands throughout, and at the end is actually augmented to end the piece. And so here's the subject of the fugue. So, and that melody comes back throughout the piece. So I hope you enjoyed.